This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I'll be welcoming back my good friend Meredith Godfrey. It's been a couple of years since we've done one. We're going to nerd out on the entertainment of our youth today, and I can't wait. She grew up in the 70s, and she got to see TV at its best and worst and all of that stuff. I'm going to ask her about that and movies, drive-ins and stuff. It's going to be another great nerd out conversation, and I can't wait. I just love nerding out on this show now with guests of mine, both, names and non-names. It's fabulous. I'm just loving chronicling oral history like this. It is fantastic. Meredith, of course, bartends at the Hearth in San Francisco, and she has a comedy night there. I think it's monthly. It's been a while since I've been there, so I'll find out more information when we talk in just a few. So yeah, here is my new interview with Meredith Godfrey. We're doing this on Facebook Messenger, by the way.
Hello?
Hey Meredith, welcome back. How you doing, darling?
Oh, I am okay. Thank you so much for understanding about last week.
Absolutely. People are always rescheduling on me. It's nothing new. I totally get it. It's just, I'm at the point now where I'm just so freaking popular. I just got to freaking maneuver schedules and, make accommodations, but it's perfectly okay.
Oh, bless your heart. So have you been?
I've been fantastic. I moved to Modesto last June, so I'm going to hopefully make some Bay Area trips soon. And
Excellent.
yes, and I'm excited about that. I'm glad I'm not in Reading anymore. It's just so fucking shitty over there. And I'm a happy guy. It's a new year of craziness.
Amen to that. I'm just kind of in the gray area of a new year. I figure February, that's when it really starts.
Yes. Chinese New Year, Women in Horror Month, Love, Valentine's Day. Lots of stuff happens in February.
Absolutely. Heck yeah. So what have you been up to?
Just doing
Besides this amazing show?
Thank you, darling. Just doing the podcast, doing everything I can to frickin' lose weight with diabetes now. Not, it's not the easy, especially when you got metal in your legs and two fucked up knees. It's hard.
Exactly. But good for you for doing it.
Thank you. So, do you remember the first movie that impacted you as a child?
Okay. There were several.
Mm-hmm.
I would say one of the ones that really affected me was Earthquake, which is the dumbest movie ever.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I agree.
But I was terrified. And I saw it at our local, my town only had one theater, and it was filmed in Sensaround. And that was something that I guess they tried for a minute.
Yeah.
It didn't work. They stopped it. And it was, I think, basically they blew up the bass all the way. And so it felt like it was rumbling in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And it was ridiculous, but I was terrified. And I kept asking my mom if she wanted me to go get her popcorn or a soda. So I kept leaving because I was so scared. I would say that. Oh, God. And for complete and utter, I was awash in tears. I could not leave the theater. It's called The Champ. It's a remake.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Ricky Schroeder.
Boo.
And, he was little. I was little. His dad is a prize fighter who should not be fighting anymore. Faye Dunaway's in it.
Yeah.
How does a really super duper wealthy lady end up with a prize fighter? But, you're not supposed to ask the questions. But I don't think I'm doing a spoiler alert. It's very melodramatic. Yeah. What do you think happens? He shouldn't be in the ring. He goes in the ring. And yes, it's true. He doesn't make it out of the ring. And I cried so hard that I was like, the kind where you can't even gulp your tears. Like,
Yeah.
I made my mom sit there and not leave until every last person had left the theater because I was so embarrassed. And people were walking by my mom like, oh, that poor little girl. Yeah. I would say those two. And I do remember a great movie, Jeremiah Johnson.
Oh, great movie.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad. I think it was rated R, but the grown-ups in the neighborhood were bringing some kids, because Robert Redford, hello.
Yeah.
And it was so good. And I just remember, like, being almost in that movie. It made me feel stuff like, wow. So I think those three might be the biggest.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the Shining and Cannonball Run and Wizard of Oz when I was a kid. Those movies impacted me, but the first one that truly impacted me was Back to the Future.
Oh, nice. Okay. Always great.
Yeah.
I didn't like scary stuff. There's a movie called The Other.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. That one, I still remember. I need to see it again because I haven't seen it since I was a child. The original Invasion of the Body Snatchers terrified me.
Yeah.
That one I saw on television, and I did not want to go to sleep. I didn't go down for a nap, and I finally fell asleep, and I was terrified that everyone was fake. So I had quite the imagination as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember The Other. Uta Hagen was the star of it.
Yes, absolutely.
And Robert Mulligan, the great director, who's Richard Mulligan's brother.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he directed it. He also directed Summer of 42, To Kill a Mockingbird, Love with the Proper Stranger, one of my favorite romantic comedies. God, so many movies.
He directed To Kill a Mockingbird?
Robert Mulligan, yes, he did.
Oh, my God. That is the finest film of all time.
It is.
My God.
My high school did it in 2007, long after I had graduated, and that's probably the last time it ever will because of the fucking woke culture we live in.
And yet, it's so beautiful. And it tells a story that probably has happened hundreds, if not thousands of times in the South. And during that era, you can't whitewash history.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put that pretty spin on it. It was ugly and scary, but told through a child's eyes. Everything about it is just, oh my God, it's perfection. And
it is.
The love affair with Gregory Peck that I have continued till this day.
Yeah. One of my favorite Westerns, the Gunfighter that he was in. He turned down High Noon because he thought that movie was too similar to The Gunfighter, and they kind of are. They kind of are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I used to, my dad died when I was 2, and I remember my mom saying that his voice was very similar to Gregory Peck, so I kind of morphed my father being being Atticus Finch, and he was also an attorney, so I think that's also why it holds such a special spot in my heart. And last night, I actually, on my Silly Oddcast, I was talking about the best years of our lives. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful film.
That's good.
Yeah, that's right up there in my top of top.
Dana Andrews, yeah, God, the guy never got an Oscar nomination. He should have got one for that movie.
Absolutely. Everybody in that damn film should have gotten something.
Yeah.
It's pure perfection. And then, I hate to say this, but I have a guilty pleasure.
Okay.
And I watch a lot of Love Boat.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the time, I have to, I usually fall asleep with it. It's the laugh track. It's not going to be anything too sad. They'll put a pretty spin on it by the end. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I also love it because of the famous stars. Here they are, Olivia de Havilland.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Milton Berle was in so many episodes.
Oh, yes. And Dana Andrews is also in one at least. Um, it's kind of shocking. Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee are in a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So it's just like, oh my God.
I'm sorry, I get a little turned on when I think of Jamie Lee at that point in time. When she was in Halloween. God, she was such a hottie.
She is, I mean, it just came across, and a bunch of the kids had not seen it at the bar I work at. So I had Trading Places on.
Oh, love it.
And I was like, gentlemen, you might want to hang out for this next spot, you know, when she takes her top off. And they're all like, oh my God.
Excuse me, I gotta go. Hold on.
Exactly. They, they thank me profusely because I'm a sport. It's what I do, Tommy. It's what I do.
I know, you're one of the guys, Meredith. You really are.
Far be it from me to take away the pleasure of the flesh for you kids. I can't do it.
I'm a tip man, I'll tell you. I know you said you don't like horror, but there's a great horror movie in the late 80s called Night of the Demons. And Linnea Quigley and this Asian actress, Jill Terashita, show their tits in it. And I used to think that Linnea had the better tits. Now that I'm older, I actually think Jill had the better ones because Asian women, I don't want to sound stereotypical, they're not known for having big tits. So she has a gift. And so I just love looking at them. And I have like screenshots saved to my hard drive just so I can look at them. They are just pretty. They are pretty Asian tits, I have to say.
God bless.
Yeah.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I to say? I always hope that the gentlemen tell me, a nice guy butt scene. I'm up for that, for sure. I just thought of another film that absolutely has stuck with me. I probably could see it just about every day of my life because it has everything. Mm-hmm. It's funny. It's bittersweet. There's sadness. And it's... Warren Beatty at his cutest. Heaven Can Wait. I love that film.
I am so sad I wasn't able to find anybody for the 45th anniversary of that last year, but I love that film. And I actually talked to James Mason's grandson a couple years ago. And
oh my God.
I told him, I cry at the end when... he appears and he tells him that, he's going to remain on Earth, but as another person. It's just so moving and so sad, I
can't take it. I really can't. It gets me every time, Tommy.
Because I feel that James Mason's character, as God, so to speak, he's like God in that character. I think he really feels bad that this has to be so you can really feel for him. He doesn't want to do this, but he has to,
It just seems like they messed up. Give him that. That shouldn't... It's so sad. I mean, oh my God. Yeah, it gets me. I think Julie Christie is perfection. Mm-hmm. She, to me, is one of the most beautiful actresses that we've ever had. There's something about her, in Dr. Zhivago. Are you kidding me? Oh. Dear God. Yeah. She's perfection. And she conveys this... Oh my gosh,
those eyes. Those eyes she has. Oh my God.
Yes. I can even look past the horrible perm that she had for Heaven Can Wait. I can look past it.
Yeah.
It gets me because she's so beautiful and has perfect blonde hair. Why in God's green creation did you do that?
Yeah.
But then again,
I totally agree.
I got myself a perm too.
Yeah. Oh my God. I speaking of Beatty, I also love Bonnie and Clyde. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh my God. Great movie. And Gene Hackman, what is he, 91?
He's 94. He's 94 today. Yes, and I said in my intro of the previous podcast I did, I wish he would make one more movie because Welcome to Mooseport was fucking terrible.
Oh, I never saw it. I had a feeling it was going to be bad.
I like Ray Romano, but that movie was terrible.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love Ray. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody does.
Yeah.
Why not?
Growing up in Connecticut, did you have the $1 Million Movie when you grew up?
Oh gosh, on TV we sure did.
Yeah. So like
Absolutely.
when I was growing up, it's funny. I've seen like the computer graphics, animation graphics for the $1 Million Movies that they had back in the 50s and 60s, and oh my God, they are eerily similar to KBHK 44's movies that movie graphics that I had, in the 80s and 90s.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Yeah, some things just don't really change. It's kind of that, like the NBC, the more you know.
Oh
Of
yeah,
course, it's just, you know exactly what it is. And I say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
yeah,
I love it. It's a little bit, I remember remember the song Popcorn? Because
yep.
I think,
Let's all go to the lobby.
oh, well, that's true. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true also. But the one that went dun 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 dun,
Yep.
dun, and they did that for one of the intros of either the $1 Million Movie or one of those things.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
So yeah, we were definitely a big movie fan, and I have a thing also. See if you understand what I'm saying. Okay,
Hmm.
so I adore Sound of Music.
Yeah.
That's I have
Same
the
here.
soft spot. I must have seen it. Oh my God, could be 50 times, if not more. Um, but truly, the best way to see it for me is on television, because that's the first way I saw it. I need the commercials so I can go to the bathroom,
Hmm.
get a snicky snack, come back. That's how I love to watch it. I have seen it at the Castro, and I've also seen it with, oh golly, the sing along Sound of Music,
Okay.
which fun, but I
Yeah.
still like watching it on TV the best.
I auditioned for the Sound of Music in high school, and it was not my finest moment. I will tell you.
What part were you going for?
I didn't care. I just wanted to be in the play, even if I was just going to be in the background. I wanted to partake in the school plays, and then I was going to do stage crew, but I was so busy on the wrestling team. I was glad I didn't do the play simultaneously, because I would have gotten no sleep, and it would have been stressful. So I waited till senior year when I wasn't wrestling anymore to do stage crew. I never wanted to audition again after that. I thought there were better singers, better dancers, and of course, actors can be very cliquey. So I was just like, fuck that.
Yeah, I mean, I always was in the theater department, always.
Yeah.
Um, and then we moved from Connecticut to Florida. I went to a private school that had no theater department, and I was heartbroken.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So I switched out my senior year to the public school, which I loved, but I was kind of just like, you know, 1 year you're kind of in transition and you're
Yeah.
making new friends. So I didn't try out for anything, and then I went to God, they've changed the name of this thing. I think it's Florida College now.
Hmm.
Uh, and I tried out, and I got the part I tried out for, and it was back on like Donkey
Hmm.
Kong. So ever after, oh my God, yeah, I love it. Can't get away from it. I'm not doing anything like that now, but having no money really puts a crimp in your style.
Yeah, it really stinks.
Yeah, here's my advice: don't get married, don't get divorced. There you go.
Yeah.
If you
um,
learn nothing from me, Tommy, learn
yeah.
those two things.
No, it's funny. In my 20s, all I wanted to do was have a kid and raise it. Now I'm glad I never did, because look at this generation. Oh my God.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. I will say, as a bartender, my 20 somethings are actually really, really sweet. They
Yeah.
bust their tables, because what I've noticed is they have to work extra hard
Mhm.
just to stay here. They're going to school, they've all got jobs, and they work their little asses off.
Yeah.
They're really generous. And then you've got, I would say, people like in their late 40s, early 50s, a bunch of snots.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 40s, there's something about them, not all of them, but a lot that we get, they just think they are beyond. They don't have to be nice to the help. It's very strange.
It really is. We could be here till next week talking about that, but I'm curious. I'm sure you remember. ABC used to show James Bond movies like every month.
Absolutely.
I'm old enough to see the tail end of it. The Living Daylights premiered on ABC when I was 7, and that was the last one because after that, it was all on the Fox network every time a new Bond movie premiered. But
Oh my God.
ABC, they had all the Bond movies playing for like 25 years. It was insane. And I mean, that's where my love of Bond started. I just got Doctor No on old VHS because I collect old VHS tapes, and oh my god, it still holds up. It's the first Bond movie. Connery is great in it. It still holds up as the best. And I got Live and Let Die, and I'm trying to find a good deal on getting The Spy Who Loved Me. That's my favorite Roger Moore one.
I love The Spy Who Loved Me. That one, it's got everything that I love. The Egyptian stuff, the water. I mean, come on. That awesome car that goes underneath.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
And a great song. Carly Simon. You
Yep.
can't get any better than this.
I interviewed Caroline Munro last year, and we talked about that when she's in that helicopter, with the frickin' jets frickin' firing bullets, and she does that sexy wave to him. It's like, I like you, but this is business, nothing personal.
Exactly.
and Barbara Bach is there too. She was also gorgeous. I wouldn't mind a threesome with the both of them.
There you go. Yeah, she is. I think she's still gorgeous. She is something. I think because she must be a sweet human being, so the beauty is still on the outside as well as the inside.
Oh my God, her sister is married to Joe Walsh. Can you imagine having dinner with Joe Walsh, Ringo Starr, Barbara Bach, and her sister? Oh my God, I can imagine Ringo's just like, come on, Joe, you have to eat your vegetables. I want to drink my beer, Ringo.
Oh, that is so cool. I had no idea. Oh my God, that's great.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. And
Wow.
sometimes Walsh plays with him in the All-Star Band. He didn't do it on this tour. My nephew got to go see Ringo in his All-Star Band back in August or September, I want to say. And he did all the Beatles songs that he sang, and he did a couple ones that John sang as a tribute, and George. And,
Oh, wow.
and he did all his solo hits, of course. So...
I have to say, Photograph is one of my very favorite songs of all time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Whether it's done by a Beatle or not, there's something about it that I just absolutely adore.
Oh.
Did you ever see, it was the tribute to George at the Royal Albert Hall?
I think I heard about it, but I didn't see it, no.
If you get a chance, it's delightful. It's so good. The stars there are fantastic. And Danny, the son of George. Oh my God. He
Danny
looks
Harrison.
just like him. Yes. Oh my God. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but and also, too, he also had some of his all-star people, do a couple of their big hits. He had Edgar Winter do Frankenstein, and he had...
Oh, cool.
And he had Steve Lukather from Toto do Rosanna.
Oh, man, I love that song.
Yeah. Rosanna
cool.
Arquette was a hoe bag. I mean, she was banging one of the guys in that band. She was banging Peter Gabriel, and that led him to therapy. I mean...
Wow, good for her.
Well,
That's a crazy family.
He's a genius. Yeah, well, it is a crazy family, yeah. But it's funny, I just interviewed Ileana Douglas, and she just came out with a book about movies that were made in Connecticut. I couldn't believe the movies that were made in Connecticut back in the day. I forgot to ask her, though, and I'll ask you this. Was there a local horror host in Connecticut back then?
Oh, Manischewitz. I believe there, because we got most everything from New York.
Yeah.
And of course, back in the day, it was like 7 channels, I believe.
Yep.
Way before cable. And I would watch in the daytime, and there was a horror guy. But when I went to Florida, I really remember that guy. That was Dr. Paul Bearer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Dr. Paul Bearer, yeah.
Oh, golly, my brother would probably remember more of the horror stuff.
I know.
Um,
I was just
but I
curious
did.
though because when I was growing up, all the local hosts were gone. Like, what year did you get to the Bay Area?
Well, I moved to San Francisco in '89. I went to
Okay.
Florida first in
Oh yeah,
'79.
that was okay. Long gone was Bob Wilkins and John Stanley on Creature Features. There was no more local guys. There was Captain USA, and then Gilbert Gottfried and Rhonda Shear on USA Up All Night, and Joe Bob Briggs on TNT Monster Vision and the movie
Oh
channel
my God, I
before that.
remember Joe Bob.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, and Elvira had just ended, so there was no local people in the Bay Area anymore at that point. But now my friend Miss Misery is the local one, and Lord Blooddraw. I've had both of them on here, and they're good friends. So
Oh, that's wonderful. It's
yeah,
about time. That's what makes it. I do remember Humphrey, the dog,
yeah,
um, doing, local stuff. Um, when I was a kid, we had, we had a thing called Wonderama,
hmm,
and it was a kids show that was, they did everything. They played a game. You could win a Ross Apollo bicycle. I wanted to be on this damn show so badly.
hmm.
That was fun. That was Bob McAllister,
Oh, okay.
and he would introduce movies and all sorts of stuff. We also had Kukla, Fran, and Ollie. We still had that, and that was like Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, and the movies there were wonderful. All sorts of foreign, and some were incredibly sad. Oh my God! You add an animal, the animal dies. What? Are you kidding me?
Hmm.
I'm a little kid watching this.
Oh, it's funny. It's funny. I watched a lot of children's educational shows that started getting popular when my brother was a kid because my brother's 9 years older than me. I'd see, yeah, I mean, I watched Sesame Street, Mister Rogers, but I'd see Pinwheel, and I'd see, oh, what was that show called? Today's Special, about this black woman and this puppet security guard. I interviewed the guy who did the movements and the voice for him, and this mannequin who, when you took his hat off, he came alive.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's called Today's
Oh, that's
Special.
hilarious. I don't remember that. I remember the Curiosity Shop,
Okay.
and it was Pamela Ferdin. She did so
Yes.
many kids things.
She had that really Jewish urgency in her voice, and she still has it to this day because I've seen her do interviews, and I've tried to get her on here. I remember she's the voice of Sally in the Cat in the Hat cartoon. Like, what are we gonna do now?
Exactly. She's in an episode of Star Trek.
Charlotte's Web.
Yep. I got to meet her when I was in I lived in Orange County for a little while, and I worked at Medieval Times Dinner Theater and Tournament, and I recognized her even though she was an adult, and I'm like, God, she's 21, and as I went by, and I had to I sold the little booklets with people's pictures in it. And I said, "Excuse me, are you Pamela Ferdin?" She almost fell out of her seat. Yes. Like nobody ever recognized her. And I said, "I just wanted to thank you. You're such a big part of my childhood." And I asked her about what was the TV show in a tree. And then she said, that was the Curiosity Shop. And it was a fantastic show. And I said, absolutely, I really should bring it back. And she was the nicest woman. So sweet.
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, hopefully I'll get her in the future. She told me she's been working on her memoir the last few years, so
Oh, cool.
we shall see.
Absolutely.
Do you remember your first drive-in movie?
Wow. Golly, don't think I went in Connecticut because my mom had a 72 Camaro. It might have been with friends, but I was little and probably fell asleep.
Uh-huh.
And then I remember when we lived in Florida, going with a bunch of kids. And one of the first was Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh. Oh my God, my parents took me to see Weird Science and Rambo 2 when I was 2. That was my first one.
Oh my God.
And Pee-wee's Big Adventure came out around that same time. I'm surprised they didn't take me to see that.
Because it's perfection. And I think I mean, I saw it in the theater as well. And I probably told my mom that I saw it 1,000 times, but it was mostly hanging out, drinking beer with my friends, or if I was on a date, making out, you know?
Hmm.
That's the kind of, yeah. But wow, that and, oh, golly, like maybe even Christine. I remember that one. Yeah, stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents started taking me to the drive-in at 2, and then by 3.5, they took a 3-year absence of taking me to the drive-in because it got to a point where I was either falling asleep in the back seat because it was so late, or I was just getting out of the car and knocking on windshields.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. I remember I've been telling this story a lot lately because I think it's so cute. One of the last times they took me, I think we were going to see the Joan Jett and Michael J. Fox movie Light of Day,
Oh my God.
and my mom had to go to the snack bar and complain about something. And the first time I ever saw Charlie Chaplin in my life, it was a stand-up cardboard poster of Bagley's cookies. It was like a cookie ad, you know. And I remember saying, "Hey, Mommy, I want a cookie just like that man has." And she's like, "You don't get a cookie. I'm mad."
Wow. No
Yeah.
cookie for you, huh?
Yeah, it was the first time I ever saw Charlie Chaplin. And then when we got TNT, they started showing his movies over and over again, and I became a Chaplin fan.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was a big Shirley Temple fan. They would play those
Oh, God.
Sunday mornings.
Do you
Loved
remember?
her movies.
Do you remember the one where she's friends with the black girl and they're running? They're running and hiding from the frickin' racists. And when they open the closet door, Shirley has blackface.
You know what? I seem to think she did blackface a couple times, but I do remember when she had blackface on.
I gotta say something. As problematic as that is, she looks so adorable with that makeup on. And it
I'll tell
also
you what,
and
that was one of the cutest kids in the history of children.
and also too, and also it served a good purpose because she was like, fuck you, she's my friend. Her friend's black. She's like, fuck you, my friend is black, so am I. Kind of a thing.
Exactly. Yeah, if you think about it, absolutely.
I love it. Yeah.
She was something else. You know what they would do to her, this poor
Uh-huh.
little kid? When she had to cry, they would give her a dog. Here, we got you a puppy. Yay! Then they take it away because she was like 4 years old.
Hmm.
And then they would tell her that the dog died, got
Oh
hit by a
yeah.
car. Jesus!
Yeah.
Oh my God, the cruelty to little kids back then.
It was. Oh my God. You remember the Shaggy dog?
Yes, I do.
Fred McMurray is so awful to that dog, the things he says to it, that I can't believe that was the male patriarchy in those days.
You know what? I heard some crap about him. I heard that he was not that great of a guy, and he would basically film all of his parts without the kids.
Huh. Well,
Yeah,
I just
you gotta
talked to
look
Stanley
into that.
Livingston, and they were always in the same room.
Okay, I guess a lot for maybe in the older
In the
days
Disney
of
movies, maybe?
I don't know, but I read about this. I could be
Uh,
wrong, but yeah, you might want to take a look because it's like holy moly.
Well, what I do know about him is that, he was a shoe salesman before an actor, and I think he always wanted to stay that way. He was just a very down-to-earth, real guy. He didn't like the Hollywood elite. That's why it took him a little bit later to become a huge star, because he was a B-movie guy for years until My Three Sons, and then the Disney movies came. And he just, he made no qualms about, how he just wanted to be treated like an ordinary person.
Okay, well that makes me feel better.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I'll definitely look into that. That is something to investigate.
Exactly. I will say that I watched the Teen Mutiny again. What
Oh,
a phenomenal film. And maybe
yeah.
that's why I don't like him.
Yeah.
Because he's just every horrible thing about a human, somebody that's oh, you got to do this, do this, do this. And then they just absolutely, have lied, and they made somebody else do the dirty work.
Mm-hmm.
That right there, oh my gosh. Yeah, he's horrible in it.
The Caine Mutiny Court Martial was done on Broadway with Henry Fonda, and that was James Gardner's first acting job ever.
Oh, wow.
James Gardner, he worked about 75 jobs before he got to act, because in those days you could get away with doing 75 jobs and they wouldn't run background checks on you on computers or any of that shit. So he knew a guy who was a soda jerker at Schwab's drugstore in L.A., and he said, "I'm going to be a theatrical agent in a year or two." And he's like, "Yeah, good luck to that." And then 5 years later, Gardner is in L.A. visiting his aunt, I think, and he's like, "I want to live out here, but I got to find work." And he saw the guy's name he recognized, and it was like the Paul Gregory Agency or something. And he just walked in. Gregory remembered him and signed him, and got him acting lessons, and his first job was the Caine Mutiny Court Martial on Broadway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, it is what a fine. And I'm not a big fan of oh golly, the guy that actually does the mutiny.
Yeah.
He was a dancer.
Yeah, let me look it up here. I know who you're talking about.
I should know this.
Turning 40 sucks, because now I'm starting to forget little teeny things, like this. Oh, Van Johnson?
That's the guy.
Yeah, Van Johnson. He was gay in real life, and so it showed in a lot of his later performances. And whenever he'd go on, like, Letterman or some talk show or something, he would just be so flamboyant. Like, you could tell he was gay at 70,
It's always funny, yeah, those kind of guys, as they aged, they would always, like, they're starting to wear a neckerchief. If you're wearing the neckerchief and you're on a talk show, the Charles Nelson Riley attire,
Yeah. Do you remember the first porn movie you ever saw?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Probably, I think it was Debbie Does Dallas.
Okay, a lot of people saw that back in those days. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know the name of the first one I saw. We had the Spice Channel. My mom worked for the cable company, and we had the Spice Channel for a short time. And one night I turned it on. Right, I see this guy fingering this girl. I watched the whole scene, and then I turned it off out of fear because I was afraid I was going to be caught. And then 2 years later, what I saw came in handy. No pun intended.
Yeah, well, you learned something, so you know what?
Yeah.
You can learn a lot through television.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine you loving all the TV sitcoms, not just from your era, but before.
Absolutely. Big fan. Some of them, actually, like, every now and again, they irk me, but I grew up on I Love Lucy, and it holds up to this day.
Yes, it does.
I'm a huge fan of Dick Van Dyke Show, and Mary Tyler Moore Show it's creme de la creme in my book.
When I see Belushi in Animal House, in the cafeteria scene, it reminds me of Lucy in that kind of humor of just, you gotta watch him, you gotta see what he's gonna do. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It is shocking, like, what she can do, just, not as the other shows, but I Love Lucy is perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Just, all you have to do is show the vitamin to vegemin, because it's hard to act real with being drunk. That's a hard act. People think it's easy, but it's really not, because it comes across as very stupid. But working in a bar, I'm telling you, she is so good at it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, God, I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners, MASH, Three's Company, Seinfeld. Those got to be the most reran sitcoms in TV history.
Exactly. I mean, I've got some other faves, but nowadays I still will watch Mary Tyler Moore Show and Dick Van Dyke Show.
Same
Just
here.
Everything about it. The and how the characters grew and you got to know them. And that's a gift.
Yeah. I just love the Barry Tyler Moore Show, Chuckles the Clown episode.
Oh my God. Yeah,
Yeah.
once again, that's the apex of a sitcom. If I could have ever been chosen to write a sitcom
Yeah.
and been there for that, oh my God.
I interviewed Susan Silver, who was the first female writer on that show, and she is one of the funniest ladies I have ever talked to in my life. Oh my God, just the things that she can pull out of her head and spur in the moment is hilarious. She was. It's funny how she got in. Basically, was just being good looking and being funny. But they didn't care about the funny. They just gave her a job because she was good looking and she had an inside track. But she surprised a lot of people and she won Emmys and stuff. It was fantastic.
Wow. Oh, how cool is that? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Was she responsible for one of for the Chuckles the Clown or
No, that was oh God, what's his name? I think he won an Emmy for that. I can't remember his name offhand, but a guy writer wrote that one. She wrote I think she wrote my favorite one, the one where Mary goes on the date with the journalist who wants to get dirt on Lou and Murr and Ted and all of them. I think she wrote that one.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, but I like in that Chuckles episode, Murr's like, I feel bad for that elephant. The clown's like a peanut. You can't eat just one. And he starts laughing, and then Lou's like, Murray, that wasn't very nice. He starts laughing too.
It's so, oh my God, everything about that episode.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And how they just, oh my God, because you get the church giggles.
Yeah.
When you're not supposed to laugh. It's
church
perfect.
Giggles.
That's what it is. When you should not laugh. Dun dun dun, and damn it to hell, you laugh.
When the 50s came and the sitcoms were very wholesome, squeaky clean, bullshit, the bullshit narrative of what the American family should be in those days, right? And then by the 60s, it turns to campy fantasy with I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, The Munsters, F Troop, Ab's Family, Get Smart. And these are all what-if shows. What if this happened, for the sake of comedy? It got really campy, for a while. And then by the 70s, Norman Lear, Gary Marshall, James Kovac, Gene Reynolds, they forever changed sitcoms with social commentary on the human condition.
Exactly. I always loved James Kovac from Courtship of Eddie's Father and stuff like that. God, that was a big favorite of mine. But I did love the campy stuff. But give me the Munsters. That was my favorite. It's got that Borscht Belt humor that I find just amazing. I can't get enough of it. I was not really a Bewitched fan.
Yeah.
A little more I Dream of Jeannie. Don't get me wrong. I watched both of them like a crazy person. But
I prefer I Dream of Jeannie over Bewitched.
Yeah. And yet, for me, they didn't hold up.
Uh-huh.
There's certain things I can go back to watching. I also, when I was a kid, I did not like Welcome Back, Kotter. I thought it was too broad. I didn't like the humor that much.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I was a big I Dream of Jeannie fan growing up in the 80s, watching it on KVHK 44. I'd see it with Wonder Woman and the Dukes of Hazzard. It was like sandwiched in there in the afternoon, I remember. Did you like the Dukes of Hazzard?
Really didn't watch that. I was a Bionic Woman fan. Very much so.
That came later for me. I didn't discover that in $6 Million Man until probably Nick at Night, in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a huge fan. And I make the bar watch The Streets of San Francisco. And it's funny because all the youngins are like, what's this? And I'll go, The Streets of San Francisco. I know it is, but what show is this?
Yeah.
It's called
The Streets of San Francisco.
So, exactly. They they do love it. Hey, Mary, gonna play this tonight? Because it's so cool that it's all filmed here. Love it. And I also have been revisiting Columbo. Can't get enough. Yep.
Love Columbo.
Absolutely.
He always has hair like an unmade bed, and he's always like building the guy's ego to show what a schmuck he is. You know, it's the best.
Exactly. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I gotta say, though, he's in the same freaking suit every time.
Oh yeah, the coat.
That bothers me. And if you came into my house, whether or not you're with that fucking disgusting cigar,
yeah,
I would kill you.
Yeah.
Get out of my house. It's not even a good cigar. You know?
Yeah.
Come on, Columbo.
Oh, I love
What's
it.
his first name in that? I can't remember.
You got me. I can't even think off the top of my head. I can look it up. Speaking of,
All of those shows that.
Oh, go ahead.
All of those shows, they would have like, oh gosh, it would come on. I would think like, was it Friday night or some such thing?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like Barnaby Jones, McLeod,
Right.
Cannon, all of those.
My dad loved Cannon. Oh, he loved Cannon.
Oh, no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you'd always have the other guy going, "Hold it right there, fat man." Like,
Yeah.
Wow, Jesus. Calm down.
Oh yeah, he loved Cannon. He loved Barbie Jones. He also loved, oh God, the Fall Guy.
Oh no. Oh. Yeah, I watched that a couple times, and I love how, man, I tell you what, that guy really wanted to sing.
Yes.
He sang, that opening song. Mm-hmm. He also sang in an episode of the $6 Million Man.
Right.
He sang a song to Jamie, which I believe is called Jamie.
Yeah.
And it's horrific. But they make her sing in a couple episodes too.
I had an actress come on here. She did an episode of The Fall Guy right at the end, and her father was like a big shot in Hollywood, and she had to share a limo with Lee Majors, and Lee Majors, he locked all the windows and the doors, and I think he was going to take his dick out or something. And
Ew.
She said to him, "Do you know who my father is?" And she told him, and then the next words out of his mouth was, "Stop the car," and she got out.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What a disgusting pig.
Yeah.
He did some sort of movie, like, I think it was called The Vikings, or...
Oh, The Norseman.
That's it.
Yes.
So, my old, one of my theater professors was an extra, and he also, like, helped doing the costuming on the set. And I guess Lee Majors was like such an ass on set.
Yeah.
And so they were grabbing the costumes, and he had like a furry codpiece or, some sort of like loincloth.
Yeah.
And then my professor found a pube, and he walked around and like, "Look at this, everyone. Let's hold on to this. It's going to be worth money."
Oh, that's gross.
So somewhere there is a stray Lee Majors pube.
Oh my God. Fuck. Yeah, you know what's so creepy about 80s sitcoms is that there was always an adopted orphan on a lot of those shows. There's a comedian in Boston who has a damn good TV-focused podcast. His name's Ken Reed. It's called TV Guidance Counselor. Have you heard of him?
No.
It's a cool.
Sounds good though.
It's a cool podcast. He talks about TV like you and I are now, and he'll do two different types of interviews. He'll do one where he has the guest pick out a TV guide from their childhood or their adulthood, and they talk about their favorite shows from that guide, right? And at other times he'll just do a standard, celebrity interview, and TV will be inserted in there because that's his expertise. And he and I talked about this on here last summer about how, there's all these adopted kids and orphans characters in different shows back in the 70s and 80s. And the way I frame it, I think the writers watched a lot of 60 Minutes in the writer's room, and they probably heard about the black market adoptions and shit, and so they made that, like, part of the social commentary on those shows.
In my estimation, like Webster and Different Strokes and stuff like that, I think people were just like, all right, this is what we got to do. And they got lazy. And then they found out, a little black kid that's never going to grow.
Yes.
They can make that a kid forever. The kid could be 45 and he's still going to be 2.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And they can still work that angle. I think that's what it was, to tell you the truth.
I know, and it's exploitive, but it was also cute too. And I've never heard anything but good things about Emmanuel Lewis. Gary Coleman, not so much. There's that famous story. Shannon, what's her name? Molly Shannon. She told the story on Conan O'Brien back in the 90s, and then she told it again when she was on Mark Maron's podcast about a decade ago. He tried to rape her, and it wasn't successful because he was so little. It was
Lord.
It was funny the way she told it, though.
Kind of pathetic, huh?
Yeah, because he's a little guy,
Exactly.
and he can't get it done. It's like a little dwarf or something.
Oh, that's so sad. Oh my God. Well, I think when they bring on that extra, like Oliver on the Brady Bunch, or Ricky Siegel on Partridge Family, it's because the other kids are starting to ugly out. They get that weird time in their lives, like they're not the cute little kid anymore. They're just like that weird in between. Oh God, like something grows before the rest of them, before your face catches up. So they look freaky. And so they bring on an extra little kid. And then we can, ha ha ha, oh, isn't that cute? Aren't they adorable? And I freaking hate it. Every time that they would let little Ricky Siegel sing on Partridge Family, I just wanted to throw up. Horrible. Oliver, horrible. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Robbie Wrist, right?
I know Robbie. He's been on. He's a funny guy.
I'm sure he's great, but it's not his fault that he got suckered into playing that.
Yeah. Well, Barry Williams.
Other kids are not cute anymore.
Barry Williams wanted to pull a David Cassidy to get off that show, right? And they added Cousin Oliver for spite. And he didn't like Robbie for the longest time. They're friends now, of course, but back then, Robbie was the enemy to him. He's like, yeah, you're putting him on here. You're trying to threaten me, basically. That if I walk off, then he's going to replace me, And then the show incidentally got canceled just, for the hell of it, I mean, the show was popular, but they're just like, let's cancel it. The storyline has gone as far as it's gone,
Exactly. Yeah, you can't and a little kid. And I remember there was a crossover episode too with Ken Berry and some other kids.
Yes. Oh, we talked about this the other day. Me and this girl.
Oh, no way.
Me and this girl who's a Brady Bunch aficionado. We talked yesterday. We talked about this episode.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's just, oh no. And poor Ken Berry, it's always like they would bring him in as like that last little bit of oxygen, which wouldn't take. I forget something else that they brought him in. It was just like, oh, sorry, Ken.
Well, his ex-wife, Jackie Joseph, I've talked to her 3 times on the podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's in that episode too. She met Ken Berry. They were doing this Playboy Broadway show back in like 1956 or something, and that's where they met. And I mean, Ken Berry was a very talented and very underrated guy, I think.
Oh, definitely. Because I remember he was on Carol Burnett's show a lot. And then he got to be on Mama's Family, stuff like that. And, F Troop, please. Loved F Troop.
Yeah. F Troop was good. I talked to James Hampton's widow about a year or two ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
You grew up in that generation when there was horrible variety shows on TV. I watch those now on YouTube because I interview a lot of people who have been on them, and I'm thinking, what were they thinking? And I know what they were thinking. They were all trying to be Laughing because that show was so groundbreaking, but it's not possible. You can't imitate Laughing.
True, but I am a huge, huge fan of a variety show.
Yeah.
Sonny and Cher, that one was
Oh, that was
one of the
great.
best.
That was
Oh
great.
my God, so funny. And you had uh, Murray, the unknown comic.
Oh, Murray Langston, I've talked to him. He's one of my heroes.
I love him so much. I always had a crush on him. I still to this day, I will watch episodes of that. It's amazing. The talent that Cher, before Cher was the funky diva, the amount of talent in that woman's body is just shocking. You know, you could stick her on with the Jackson 5 and she wouldn't look like an idiot. She was right there with them. One of the best episodes has, I think it's Bette Midler and Elton John, and they play themselves but old. They're in like an old folks home.
Yeah.
So funny. So funny. And I would, oh God, the summer replacements, like the Bobby Gentry show.
Yeah.
I think John Denver.
Yep.
He had a show. You name it, they all had a show.
Yeah, the Croft brothers, you know, I talked to Sid Croft last year, and whether he cared to admit it or not, they were running out of ideas with the puppet shows. So they started doing the variety shows. They had the Bay City Rollers do one.
I loved it. Yes, I did. And I think they even had Witchy Poo with them.
Yes, they had the Brady Bunch. They had...
Yep.
They had
a different Jan.
I loved their Super Show. That wasn't a variety show, but I loved the Super Show because they had Captain Cool and the Kongs. And what's her name? Louise Duart, very funny impressionist, you know, in stand-up. She was the drummer for that band on there.
Oh my God!
She was just a secretary, and like they asked her to be a part of it, and then she started doing stand-up after it ended. You know, she went to the Comedy Store one night and got on, and then she became Tim Conway's opener for years.
Holy crap, that's so cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, remember Shields and Yarnell?
Absolutely. Oh, he was so cute.
Shields,
I thought they were great. I know they got a divorce, right?
They got a divorce in the mid-'80s because he was fucking Daisy Duke at the time.
Oh, that's right. Oh, oopsie.
Shields is a monster, I will tell you. He was scheduled to come on here 2 years ago, and he got very bullyish in email, and so I ended up not doing the interview. I wasted all the time and energy on preparing it and everything, and then several months later, a comedian who's legendary, that I won't name, who's been on the show, he was going to have him on his show, and they've known each other 50 years, and the same situation happened. You know, we talked about it, and I was like, wow, God, have you ever known him to be that way? He's like, he's always been arrogant and cocky, but just not like to the point where he's alienating himself, you know?
Oh, God.
And then, do you know Tony Attell?
Why does that sound familiar?
She's from the Bay Area. She's a stand-up.
Okay.
Well, she got into stand-up because he stole her mime moves when she was a mime.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Wow.
She called him out. Oh, she blatantly called him out on here, and I frickin' loved it because he rubbed me the wrong way, I'll tell you.
It's really weird. I mean, I don't know why you have to be like that, but
yeah.
You know, in every genre, in every generation, you're going to have that person.
Yeah.
You know, while we were doing comedy back in the day, there was what's her face? You know, who's got a show now, and you know, I don't know if she won an Emmy, but her show did, I believe. Ali Wong.
Yeah, our enemy Ali Wong.
Yeah, couldn't care less. She wouldn't know me if she hit me with a car.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's just not a nice human being. And I swear to God, when she was doing comedy and stepping all over people, I remember thinking, wow, her stuff is so basic. It's just low-hanging fruit. And, like, you know, it was easy stuff.
Yeah.
I just remember that. I thought her boyfriend at the time, Chris Garcia, was freaking hilarious.
Love Chris.
And I thought,
Love Chris.
yeah, really fun. I loved the fact that they had a duo. I love comedy duos.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called Beans and Rice, and I thought that was very funny.
Yep.
But, yeah, when she went her own separate way, oofa, doofa, what a nasty woman.
I don't know if it's because they're in Hollywood now, but like they never talk about that or their relationship.
Oh, I'm sure she wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chris hasn't either. They were both on Mark Maron a couple of months apart, and they both said, "Oh yeah, we came up together," but they never talk about Rice and Beans, and they never talk about their relationship. So.
Oh wow.
Also, too, Mary Tyler Moore, she had a variety show, and
yes, she did.
It had David Letterman, Michael Keaton, Swoozie Kurtz, and Judy Kahn, who I've interviewed.
Oh, cool.
That was bad. I watched that. I was like, oh my god.
It was not good. I remember them coming out like with like Letterman sweaters from high school kind of thing.
Yeah.
With oh god, I don't know why this, and it could be wrong, but I seem to remember with a little luck we can work it out, that song.
Oh yeah.
Them coming out, but it was like done in a high school kind of way.
Yeah.
Oh, like a marching band.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was like the fight song at my high school, San Mateo High. We had our fight song, with the marching band and everything.
Oh, God, yes. I think that's how they came out. It was so bad, and it's just really sad because, was it called Mary?
Something. Yeah, I think so.
Exclamation point.
Right.
See, I just want to live long enough to have my show Meredith with an exclamation point. That's all. Just one show. You can cancel it after that. But I just need it.
Yeah. Oh God, I'd be on it in a heartbeat. I'll tell you.
Absolutely.
Did you collect like the board games and lunchboxes of a lot of these '70s shows?
I wish I had. Honest to goodness, I was a Peanuts fan, so I had the metal rust bucket with peanuts on it. And then most of the time, I didn't know where I would put it. So my mom would just do the paper bags.
Oh, I had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles lunchbox because they were popular when I was going to school in the early '90s, and I remember, I never stole anything in my life, but like I think I made an attempt to steal a Jetsons lunchbox from some kid. I was like, this lunchbox is so cool, I want my own.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of my girlfriends had the Partridge Family, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if they had an Almighty Isis, I would have loved that, because I loved that show.
I would buy all the merch, but it's so fucking expensive on eBay. It's like in the 10,000s and shit in some cases.
Oh, yeah. So not worth it. And they are, dangerously rusty, all of them.
And it's also they're also addicting, and they're great to look at.
Yes. I would like to know what happened to the gal that played Isis.
Oh, she died about 2 years ago, maybe 3.
Aww.
Yeah.
She is in a Columbo, by the way, with Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, I loved her Amazing Spider-Man 2-parter, and when I had Nicholas Hammond on, who was the oldest Von Trapp kid in The Sound of Music.
Yeah, he was the Spider-Man kid.
Yes, and when I brought that up to her, I think he was pissed. I don't think they got along, and
really?
Their chemistry was magic on screen. And like if you look
How weird is that?
Yeah, if you look at the user comments on YouTube, everyone agrees she should have been on that show like full time.
Oh, absolutely. She was so beautiful and a fine actress. Fine. It was so sad that they, that she didn't achieve more. Unless maybe she married really well. Maybe some, as happens. Usually it's, some producer sees the gal and says, come away with me. Which,
My friend Lisa Everett, who has a pop culture podcast, she knew Joanna for over 20 years. They met at a Comic-Con and literally became fast friends because Lisa had has a bed and breakfast out in Philly, and she had her on her podcast probably about 6 months before she died, and I wanted to ask her to like connect me, but I just didn't want to impose. And then when she passed, I felt bad that I didn't. And she told me later, she's like, "I would have connected you with her." And I was like, "Yeah, but I was just like, our friendship was brand new. I didn't want to think that I was using her,
Exactly.
you know." Yeah,
Oh man. And I'm dare I ask, was it like cancer?
I think it was.
Ah, jeez.
If you listen to that interview, she I think she had a little bit of resentment towards Hollywood, and it wasn't a good experience for her. But yeah, I mean, she adored, that she had fans at least.
Oh, absolutely. I thought her show was so cool. It was definitely better than Electra Woman and Dinah Girl.
Oh, I love that show. You know what I liked about that show is that it looked like it was cable access because
Oh, it's so bad.
it was so shot on video. I loved it.
Oh my God, it's horrible, but I did love it. What was the one with the? Let's see, there was Run Joe Run. I was a big fan
Shazam.
of that one. Shazam,
Yep.
yes, with Billy Batson and his mentor.
Yep.
The one that was like a dune buggy,
Oh, that sounds familiar. That sounds
but it
very
was,
familiar.
and of course Bigfoot and Wild Boy, which was horrible as well.
Yeah.
I loved when they would show how fast that they could run. It was a speedometer from an old gremlin because I had a gremlin and it was the same speedometer. That'll show you.
Yeah, but I tell you, we were huge fans of Greatest American Hero in my family because
Oh yes, big fan.
my dad looked exactly like William Catt, had the curly fro and everything. And when I met William Catt, I showed him a picture of my dad back then. He was like, "Wow, I could be your uncle."
Oh, how cute.
Yeah. Automan.
Automan.
That
Don't
was
know that one.
very short-lived sci-fi show. This was right after Tron, right? So he
Oh,
he had a computer-generated superhero outfit on. It was green.
oh, nice.
Yeah.
I
Chuck
was more like,
Chuck Wagner was Automan, and his partner was Desi Arnaz Jr.
oh no,
Yeah,
oh no. I've seen some pictures of Desi Arnaz Jr. these days. He's not looking very good.
I heard. I heard. Do
Ooh, wow.
you remember the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Ah, I believe it was Styx, and it was a picture album,
Uh huh.
and I think it's Pieces of Eight.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
That's a
loved
great
that
album.
one.
I saw them in 2015, right after I got out of the hospital from my accident. One of the first concerts I went to was Def Leppard, Styx, and Tesla, and it was a great show.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah. My my first two albums I bought with my own money. I got birthday money when I was 8 from my grandmother, and I got Phil Collins, No Jacket Required, and Poison's Look What the Cat Dragged In because I was an
Oh,
MTV kid, so
nice.
I knew all those videos, I knew all those songs, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I was Beatles like a crazy person, so
Yep.
I had to have the red album, then the blue album, and I played them. Basically, as soon as it was over, I played it all over again. How my mother didn't come in and just break them right in front of me, I'll never know. And Billy Joel had
Nice.
to have The Stranger and played that one ad nauseum as well. I still love it. I think The Stranger is one of the most perfect albums.
I agree, and it's got a really strange cover. You know, he's looking at those boxing glove. He's got the boxing gloves above him, and he's got that freaking Theater of Pain mask right there.
Exactly. Well, because we all have a face that we hide away forever.
Yeah.
In the immortal words of.
Nothing beats the stinky, musky smell of vinyl records, I'll tell you.
Exactly. Yeah, something happens to the cardboard outside that just kind of makes it like, ugh. But then I was fortunate because my brother, when he went off, he's 9 years older than I as well.
Right.
And so I got all of his albums. And he was a Beach Boys fanatic. Holy googly moogly.
Oh yeah, we're Beach Boy fans. We saw them. Me and my mom saw them in 20, 2016, and John Cowsill from the Cowsills was drumming for them, and it was a great show. It was Mike Love and Al Jardine, and that was about it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
There's some wacky people, let me tell you. I have some friends that used to work on their tours back in the day.
Yeah.
And Dennis was the drummer originally, right? Okay. And Mike Love, they always had this strange rivalry.
Right.
One of them screwed the other's daughter, so the other guy did it to the other guy's daughter. Like,
wow.
Oh my God. Yeah. Lovely people.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Carney Wilson on here. We have some mutual friends, and hopefully it'll happen this year. Carney pulls no punches. I mean, she tells it like it is, and she's so fucking funny. She should do stand-up. She's so funny.
That's awesome. Absolutely. I did happen to watch an old Saturday Night Live from the 70s, and Brian Wilson was on. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard to watch.
Oh, I'll check it out.
Yeah, if you can't, you definitely find that episode.
Oh, I have all the 70s DVDs, so I go on what's it called, SNLtranscripts.com or something. I could probably find it there and then just pop in the DVD and watch it.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's oh golly. And he's doing one of my favorite songs, but he's just doing it by himself on the piano, and his voice is not grand, and you're just thinking he's going to have a freak attack any minute.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so watch that and tell me what you think.
I will. How about First Comedy Records?
Oh, wow. Well, that would be from my family. Dayton Allen was one of their very favorites.
Steve Allen.
No, Dayton Allen.
Dayton Allen.
Dayton Allen. He was a very, the album is called Why Not? And it's silly and funny. He's very much a Borscht Belt humorist.
I'm looking him up. Okay, he was a regular on the Steve Allen Show, so I'm not too far off.
There you go. But, my family, we did love Steve Allen, and he had a great variety show in the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, he was in the Cotton Club.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So it would be stuff like that, but our family was always, always into comedy. And, of course, Bill Cosby.
Yep.
And for me, it was Steve Martin all the way. I loved him. I grew up believing we would meet and he'd fall desperately in love with me. Apparently that was not to happen.
I've heard from a lot of people he's a prick.
No.
Steve Martin?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. That's not fair. How can you do that to your buddy?
He's a snobby intellectual, I'll tell you, Meredith.
Well, that I believe. I definitely believe that.
My mom had Lily Tomlin's "This Is a Recording," and that's like the first one I can remember. And Cheech and Chong's "Big Bamboo."
Oh my God, my brother had that. Definitely. There are so many great things. You kids today, they don't know what they're missing.
They don't. They fucking don't. How about HBO specials? What were your favorites back in the day?
We really didn't have HBO. Trying to think. Would it be like Eddie Murphy? Was that one of the ones? Because I would probably
Eddie Murphy Delirious, yeah.
Okay, that would be one of them.
Oh my God, I had Corey Haim's sister back on 2 weeks ago to nerd out like we're doing now, and her and Corey loved Eddie Murphy Delirious when they were teenagers, and I'm like, I am so shocked because they're nice Canadians, and I'm like, oh my God, they're laughing at him saying faggot and all this stuff.
I mean, I hate to say it, different time, but God, he was just remarkable. That, machine gun delivery, but it didn't, he never, even when he was saying those words, I know this sounds strange. It just didn't come off as the mean-spirited stuff
Yeah.
of now. Like, good Lord, some of the comics, just, it comes off as mean-spirited.
Yes.
And then the ones that tell you, you don't know what funny is. Yeah, but you're not it.
Yeah. I mean, when I watch that stuff nowadays, right, I still have the same feeling I did as a kid, that it was body, no holds barred, no filtered comedy. I still have that feeling.
Absolutely. I mean, isn't that why people go to a club? Isn't that why you go to see comedy? I mean,
Well,
if you wanted to stay safe, you
that's what
stay
we
home.
do. They don't.
It's weird. I don't understand that. It doesn't really make much sense to me. You know,
Yeah.
on my silly comedy page, there'll be one thing that somebody's going to complain about. Well, this is, it is what it is. Don't look at it. If something I say or one of the crawlers puts on is going to offend you, I mean, obviously don't say something with hate, but not everything, I find the state of the world upsetting.
Yeah.
I find the fact that places don't have clean water.
Yes.
And people go to bed hungry. I think that's disgusting. Something stupid that I've said or posted on a comedy page, if that's what offends you, you're not paying attention. Life is offensive.
They're not offended. They're just being fucking, their version of rebellious.
It's sad because you're not getting it.
Yeah.
It's somebody got angry at me because I posted this thing, which I find still funny. The person is obviously on all sorts of drugs, and somebody put music to it. Is it sad? Sure.
Right.
But is it also funny? Yes, it is. And the person is like, I feel badly and blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't know anything about me. You don't know what I do in my regular day, if I help people or not.
Yeah.
Stay off of this page then, because you're going to be offended a lot more than this.
Yeah.
Get ready.
You have never offended me, Meredith, obviously.
Oh, bless you. But yeah, I think what goes on in the real world is far more offensive than what some dumbass comic or whatever says.
Yeah.
Look around. See, look at politics these days. People are still dying of stupid diseases, and others can't afford medication. That's offensive.
It highly is. So, what were your first concert? Oh, did I ask you that already?
No, my mother would take me to New York City. It's only it's less than an hour by train.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would see plays and musicals all the time. But I don't remember a concert. I remember seeing the Royal Lipizzanner Stallions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then when we moved to Florida, I think I know I was underage. I looked like I was 10. And the older kids, and actually some kids my age, they made me put the pop pipe down my pants. Because they knew nobody would know that I was holding it. I did not smoke pot then.
Yeah.
And it was the Commodores.
Nice.
And it was a great show.
I know you're a big Lionel Richie fan, I remember. And, I was talking about him a little bit ago with the previous guest. Her first album was, or her first single she ever bought was Lionel Richie's... I think You Are was the first one.
Oh, yes. You are the sun. You are...
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know he's got a Vegas residency now. It's funny how all these rock guys are big in Vegas and not fucking Wayne Newton and Frank Sinatra anymore.
Well, you got to follow the money. And you live that lifestyle a little too long. You're like, uh-oh, time to hit the... residency, you say? Sure, why not? I can see that happening big time.
I had two first concerts. I had Steppenwolf at the San Mateo County Fair. John Kay was the only original guy, the lead singer, and he's so charismatic, so it didn't matter to me. And Alice Cooper at the Warfield. He is a fucking showman, I'll tell you.
Absolutely. Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah. Him, Todd Rundgren, and Rush are the three best concerts I ever went to.
Nice. I did see Todd Rundgren at Bimbo's. That was a great show.
Bimbos?
Yeah. So it was, really good seats. And I did smoke a little pot there.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble. I didn't get in trouble by any of the staff, but it was a group of older Karens and their husbands, and they were like giving the stink eye and like,
Yeah.
So I ended up blowing it towards them. You got to calm them down,
Yeah. So how are things at the Hearth? The comedy night's going great?
Absolutely. Still love doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I'll figure out a way to monetize it. I love putting it on. I love gathering it, having everybody laughing. That just makes me so happy. The other part of it, sure would like to make a living that way, but we'll see. I'm not dead yet, so.
Well, like I said, maybe I'll come down soon and take a look. I recorded my 2000th interview. It's my incidental 2000th interview that I'm dropping tomorrow with my friend Danny. He says hi, by the way.
Hello, Danny.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about the brainwash last Saturday night and stuff, and it was fun. And I'll tell you, when I do interviews in the morning or at night, those are my worst because I'm so fucking tired. But like, if it's afternoon like this, I feel so energetic and great,
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm sure glad I was part of this one.
Yeah. I turned 40.
I'm just so...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, when is that? When do you turn the big 40?
I turned 40 last June, and I tell you, I can't believe how much of an adult I've become in the last year, Meredith, because I swear a lot less now than I ever have, and just like I hold myself accountable whenever I'm wrong, and it took me a long time to do that, and I just, I don't feel changed, but I just feel more refined, I think.
That is wonderful. Yeah, it is a giant learning lesson, this whole thing called life. And hopefully, we do learn the good stuff and we hold it close. I learned a lot of lessons. I don't know why I had to. Mm-hmm. Some of them, the marriage thing came across as like, what the hell? Now, as I look at it, it could have been a sitcom. But it was a little sad and horrible in the beginning, but mm-hmm. I lived through it and I learned a lot. So,
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
What the hell?
I mean, last year I got my first prostate exam. It ended up being a blood test. I was so fucking disappointed because I was ready for that finger. Oh my god.
Yeah, why no finger?
Because I think it was a combination of COVID and Me Too. I don't know, but I'm in a new town, new doctor. Maybe I'll have it this year. Who knows?
If you're lucky.
If I'm lucky, yeah. On Black Friday, I had my first threesome in over a decade, and so that kind of made up for it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Okay.
Thank you. So
I'm just looking for a date these days. My God.
Oh my God. So how long have you been divorced now?
Since May.
Okay, so
officially.
Okay, so
I had to change the locks, sadly. Yeah, it was about a year plus that the locks had been changed. Mm-hmm. But I'd said, if you can get yourself together, we can talk about trying it out again. Mm-hmm. I did try, because there are vows that you're supposed to listen to, and I did, and it just, if you don't do the work and you're not trying to change, why am I doing the work for you?
Right.
So, it's the person that the ex-husband can't ever see the bad stuff he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, now I know what I won't take. So maybe that was my lesson.
Yeah. I mean, like, remember Kramer versus Kramer?
Yes, I do.
I think Dustin Hoffman shouldn't have won that year. I think Peter Sellers should have won for being there because that was an actual character. Dustin Hoffman was just being himself as a divorced dad in that movie.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater. Yeah, that was, hey, life happens. And it's not pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And you just try to do the right thing. You hope. And you hope you mesh well with the person you're trying to create a life with.
Right. Well, I think you'll find somebody new. I mean, you're still a hottie, and you're awesome.
God bless you.
Yeah, I mean,
spread that around, won't you?
I will. You're fucking awesome, Meredith. And so, how often is the comedy night again?
That is once a month on the second Saturday.
Once a month on the second Saturday. And did you say that you had a podcast now?
Oh, I've been doing for the past 13 years, pretty much.
Oh.
It was originally with FCCFreeRadio.com.
Oh, yeah,
but that guy,
yeah.
No, it was in a different spot. This guy was crazy, though.
Yeah.
And then I started just doing it on Facebook Live.
Oh, okay.
So one of these days, I'm going to figure out how to get it on other places and such. We'll see how that goes.
It's easy to do YouTube or Spotify or Spreaker or any of those,
I just gotta. Yeah, I'm kind of. I hate to say it. I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'll figure it out. And
you damn Skippy.
I got a couple jokes for you.
Hit me.
What do you call a boy that doesn't masturbate?
Oh, I don't know.
A liar.
Nice. Yep.
Why is drinking cheap beer like going down on your sister?
Oh, God. I don't know.
It's the same taste, but it's still not right.
Oh. Wow.
Why did the blonde have a bruised belly button?
I don't know.
Because her boyfriend was blonde.
Ah, jeez.
Meredith,
wow.
Meredith, I love you. Thank you so much for coming on and nerding out with me today.
Oh, what a pleasure. It's always so much fun to talk to you.
You too.
Anytime.
You too, hun. And keep your chin up, and you will find your next prince. Hopefully, it'll be the last prince.
Oh, boy. From your mouth to God's ear, Pally Poo.
You have a great day, and be safe.
Oh, you too, hon. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Meredith Godfrey. You gotta love her. She's so fucking awesome. Go see her on that Saturday of each month at Raise Earth and sign up for open mic or just watch the show. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.